what's up YouTube? I'm doing another update. As you guys can see, my 55's in the back. And I always have a word of advice, and this is kind of a dumb one, but I figured I'd go ahead and talk about this one. Why this is a dumb one is because, I never really thought about it till this last weekend. I went out and hung out with some new people, met some new people, and one of the persons asked me, do you have a hobby? And I never really thought about the aquarium hobby as a hobby, which is kind of funny because it really is a hobby. And when I was younger, like in high school, and college, early college, I guess when I was just got into college, I didn't talk about it because I didn't think anybody cared. I didn't think anybody liked it. And I just think it's really funny because now you got like TV shows about fish tanks and fish wars and stupid stuff like that. And I guess my word of advice or my thought to you guys: don't be afraid of your hobby. Don't like my friends kind of give me shit about it because they think it's funny that I made a YouTube channel out of it, and they think it's just kind of funny that they're like, you have fish and you have really nice fish and you bred them, what? So like they kind of give me shit about it, but it's not in a bad way. So my word of advice is don't be ashamed of who you are and what you do. And I know it seems kind of stupid, but I never talked about it. I never really said anything to anybody about it, and then somebody asked me or found out or something, and I kind of talked about it. So, and there's other people that have fish, and you might know something, or they might know something, and it's just good way to like meet people and interact. So that's my word of advice: don't be ashamed of your hobby, I guess. Hope you guys enjoy this update. I'll start off a little bit different. I want to show you guys the 55, and it's kind of funny because they were just cleaning. There was a pair cleaning right here, and there was a pair cleaning up back here on this filter. I'm kind of backed up to see, if they're going to do it. As you guys can see, there's food at the bottom. I'll get a close-up of the food. I just wanted to show the tank. I think it looks so badass. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and feed them. And there's one coming out. I'm going to feed them and do another water change. I did 2-3 water changes, and I've been feeding them very, very heavily. I mean heavily by 2 or 3 times a day. So, and like I said, they've been cleaning, so it's been really good to see that. So I'm going to do another big heavy one and feed them again, keep feeding them, just power feeding them, and hopefully I can get them spawn. So, you freaked out. People have asked me, someone commented on how to do trimmings. I will do more videos on trimmings and, what trimming does, so that will be a whole video of itself. So, if you guys are interested in that, want to see a certain plant trimmed, I have Hygrophilium Augustif, I have the Tyranthia cardinalis, which is the red one, I have Rotella, and I think it's called S. ripens. I have Java moss and Java fern in the fern family. I'm pretty sure the Rick did a video on the ferns, on how to trim it and things of that sort, so you can watch that video, and I think I've done one in the past. And Anubias and those plants are pretty easy, so just go ahead and comment on that if there's a certain plant you want to see. This tank, in all honesty, I don't know what I'm doing with this tank. I have a really good idea, a really good plan for the 20 gallon. No one really commented on any substrate. I do like EcoComplete. The only thing I didn't really like about EcoComplete, it was really hard for the plants to pick up the roots because it's such a thin thing. So I'm going to try fluorite for my next thing, for my next aquarium that I set up for the next thing I do. I'm going to try fluorite and try that out. I do like dirt. Dirt does amazing. I would recommend dirt. Dirt is definitely one of those for sure keepers, and they're fighting in there. I was hoping they'd get some action. This pair and that pair is fighting, but I don't really care unless I see some babies. But what I'm going to do with this tank, if I don't get angelfish to spawn ever, I'm just going to make this into a giant mixed guppy tank and shrimps. So, and I'm going to gut this, and I don't have a plan per se. I'm going to keep the trident fern and the Java moss because cherry shrimp like it, guppies like it, and I like trident fern personally. Everything else will probably go till I have a plan in motion. I don't think I'm going to change the lighting or anything like that. I might eventually upgrade the lighting, but I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this tank at all. So, if you have any ideas on a 55 and you wanted to eventually try, or you're like, what would a 55 look like if this? Go ahead and comment. I would definitely hear it. plants for sale, still for sale. You know, and like I said, I would definitely trade for, you know, some Crypts, Windite Bronze, and someone said it was Crypts Parve. Anyways, I definitely would trade for some of that, so, you know, to try it out. So, if anybody has any, send me a private message or comment, and I'll send you a private message or whatever. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this part, and I'll go ahead and show you guys the 20 gallon. Nothing too exciting in this tank. You know, at least I don't think it's exciting. You know, still, like I said, I haven't heard anything about this. I'm going to give it a little bit, and if anybody wants some of this Rotella or wants to trade for it or wants to buy it, you know, like I said, hit me a private message on that. But, yeah, pretty much, guppies are doing really good. I don't know if you guys can see all the babies. There's tons and tons of babies in there. And, honestly, I'm going to start scooping and throwing them in the 55, scooping and throwing in the 55. But in all reality, I don't even have to worry about it because there's 2 females in here and 2 males. And they honestly don't care. They're always eating. You know, they have plenty of food, and there's shrimp in here. So I'm not even worried about the babies because the babies are fine, and there's so much coverage in this tank. So, yeah. This tank looks a little bit dirty. And, you know, I was thinking about it. There's 1 guppy in there. I sucked up 1 guppy and 1 shrimp in here, so I eventually need to toss them back up. I was removing some of the water, you know, and I thought to myself, like, you know, plants need nutrients, and what I mean by nutrients are, like, poop from fish and stuff like that. It works kind of in a cycle kind of thing. So I removed some of their water and move it down. So, and that would be my girlfriend. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. Nothing major growth, nothing like that. So, I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope to hear from you guys. Comment. And next video I'll make will be when I get back from Vegas. So, like always, much love. Peace out, homies.